All right, big news here. The Tesla over-the-air update 2021.32.22 is here.
Great. We finally get the beta button.
Well, kinda. Elon tweeted out on the 24th, FSD beta request button goes live tonight, but FSD 10.1 needs another 24 hours of testing, so out tomorrow night. Aaron said, will the car still give recommendations on how to improve your driving so you can get beta? And Elon said, yes.
The car is going to tell you recommendations?
Yeah, so let's get into this.
Okay.
M&A, who is a Tesla AP software engineer, tweeted out, biggest no-nos for safety score are forced autopilot disengagement and aggressive turns. Aggressive turns will be calculated by lateral G-force. Be sure to keep your hands on the wheel at all times for safety and to ensure no forced autopilot disengagement occurs. We won't require you to drive like a grandma. Maintain a good following distance and overall steady driving. Average speed above limit tolerance will be about 5 to 7 miles per hour.
So what are we talking about here?
Okay, so Tesla released Safety Score Beta on Saturday. The Tesla manual says, the Safety Score Beta is the first release to the Safety Score, which is an assessment of your driving behavior based on 5 metrics called safety factors. These are combined to estimate the likelihood that your driving could result in a future collision. We combine your daily safety scores up to 30 days to calculate the aggregated safety score displayed on the main safety score screen of the Tesla app. You can find details around your daily safety score by selecting Daily Details at the bottom of your screen. The Safety Score Beta is intended to provide drivers transparency and feedback of their driving behaviors. The safety score is a value between 0 and 100, where a higher score indicates safer driving. Most drivers will have a safety score of 80 or above.
So what are the 5 safety factors?
All right, so the first one is forward collision warnings per 1,000 miles. Forward collision warnings are audible and visual alerts provided to you, the driver, in events where a possible collision due to an object in front of the vehicle is considered likely without your intervention. Events are captured based on the medium forward collision warning sensitivity setting, regardless of your user setting in the vehicle. Forward collision warnings are incorporated into the safety score formula at a rate per 1,000 miles.
But I have my car set to early. What does that mean?
Yeah, so Tesla's basing it on the medium setting. So even though you have it set to early, which is fine, they're using the medium setting. So it does get a little confusing though, right? Because if your early warning goes off, it may or may not have triggered the medium. You don't know.
What if I set it to late?
That's still, they're counting medium.
So I wouldn't even know if I was getting dinged?
Yeah, this is kind of complicated. I mean, is this going to mean that most people are going to want to change their early warning to medium so that they're matching the safety score? I don't know. So that's number 1.
Okay.
Number 2 is hard braking. Hard braking is defined as backward acceleration measured by your Tesla vehicle in excess of 0.3 Gs. This is the same as the decrease in the vehicle's speed larger than 6.7 miles per hour in 1 second. Hard braking is introduced into the safety score formula as the proportion of time expressed as a percentage where the vehicle experiences backward acceleration greater than 0.3 Gs relative to the proportion of time where the vehicle experiences backward acceleration greater than 0.1 Gs, or 2.2 miles per hour in 1 second. All right, so let me just translate this for you. You're going to do braking on any normal drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tesla knows that. And so let's say you go for an hour-long drive and you brake for, 5 minutes of that drive. That's fine. But Tesla wants to know what percentage of that 5 minutes of braking was hard braking. Like, I almost missed that guy. And so if that's like, say, 5 seconds out of your 5 minutes, they would do a proportion of 5 seconds to 5 minutes, and they would make that a percentage.
Now, 0.3 Gs isn't that stiff. Like, that's not like slamming on your brakes.
Right.
I mean, because 6.7 miles an hour per second is not that fast a deceleration, especially when we're talking about on the highway.
Yeah.
So
be kind of grandma-ish, even though they said not to, if you want this not to ding you.
Okay.
Number 3 that they're going to count is aggressive turning. Aggressive turning is defined as left-right acceleration measured by your Tesla vehicle in excess of 0.4 Gs. This is the same as an increase in the vehicle's speed to the left or right larger than 8.9 miles an hour in 1 second. Aggressive turning is introduced into the safety score formula as the proportion of time expressed as a percentage where the vehicle experiences lateral acceleration greater than 0.4 Gs in either the left or right direction relative to the proportion of time where the vehicle experiences acceleration greater than 0.2 Gs, which is 4.5 miles per hour in 1 second in either left or right direction. Same thing here. You're going to make turns during your trip. If during an hour-long drive you do, let's say, 5 minutes of turns, but 1 minute of those is like hard turns, they're going to make that a percentage. So 20% they're going to say is aggressive turning.
Okay. But now, can't you just hack this by going into a big parking lot and just turning at 0.2 Gs or above?
Seems like you could.
Okay.
Is that your official hack offering?
You read it, and that's the first thing that I think of. Okay. And I mean, with the braking one, couldn't you just get on an empty highway, get up to 150 miles an hour, and then just slowly bring it back to normal speeds?
You could. If these are your hacks, maybe you should publish them in the book called Jesse's Safety Score Tesla Hacks. All right, number 4 here is unsafe follow. Your Tesla vehicle measures its own speed, the speed of the vehicle in front, and the distance between the two vehicles. Based on these measurements, your vehicle calculates the number of seconds you would have to react and stop if the vehicle in front of you came to a sudden stop. This measurement is called headway. Unsafe following is the proportion of time where your vehicle's headway is less than 1 second relative to the time that your vehicle's headway is less than 3 seconds. Unsafe following is only measured when your vehicle is traveling at least 50 miles an hour and is incorporated into the safety score formula as a percentage. So this is another one of those ratios, right, where you are going to be following people on almost any trip. And so as long as you're at a safe distance, it is good, but as soon as you get too close, it's bad.
But wait. They say you have to be traveling at least 50 miles an hour.
Yep.
And it's the proportion where you are less than 1 second away of reaction time, but also in proportion to the amount of time that you are 3 seconds away. So they're saying 1.1 seconds to 3 seconds is a safe follow distance above 50 miles an hour? Because I was taught in driving school, if you're going 50 miles an hour, you should have 5 seconds. And if you're going 60 miles an hour, you should have 6 seconds. And so it's supposed to be that many car lengths, and that should equate to the number of seconds.
Is this like a typo? Should it have said vehicle's headway is more than 3 seconds?
Well, I could understand that they wouldn't want that because then they could be a mile away, and then the car would go, oh, good, they're following a mile away. That's not really the same thing.
Maybe they're just being realistic. In California, for instance, you can't give that much time between a car in front of you on the 405.
Okay. It's just that isn't
that safe.
That's safe according to what I learned in driving school.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's go to number 5. And finally, the forced AP disengagement. The autopilot system disengages for the remainder of a trip after you, the driver, have received 3 audio and visual warnings. These warnings occur when your Tesla vehicle has determined that you have removed your hands from the steering wheel and have become inattentive. Forced autopilot disengagement is introduced into the safety score formula as a 1 or a 0 indicator. The value is 1 if the autopilot system is forcibly disengaged during a trip and 0 otherwise.
So
can this one be hacked in your hacking book?
Well, no, because you're basically multiplying by 0.
Okay.
But it could be hacked if you never put it into autopilot.
Interesting.
This one seems like an easy one not to get dinged for, but my question is, sometimes I'm in autopilot, right? And it's going along, everything's fine. I don't get any warnings or anything. The road suddenly becomes really crappy. The lines weren't painted for 50 years or whatever. And
you're in Massachusetts.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
So I'm going along, and all of a sudden the car would go, grab the thing. Does that count as a forced autopilot disengagement?
I don't know. That's a great question.
It says, you have warnings. How would I know to not?
Well, we're getting kind of an answer to that coming up.
Okay.
But now let's determine your safety score. You're going to take all those 5 things, and here's the formula. In order to calculate your daily safety score, we use the predicted collision frequency, or PCF formula, below to predict how many collisions may occur per 1 million miles driven based on your driving behaviors measured by your Tesla vehicle. So they're going to take each of these, they're going to give them a weight factor, and if you look at this, the forced AP disengagement is the highest weight factor. So I would say make sure you do not get disengaged. Hard braking is the second highest.
So, if I had to guess, it looks like Tesla took their billions of miles of driving data and basically culled through it to find either all the accidents or to find the drivers who got in the most accidents and, what they did. And they've picked out 5 factors.
Yeah, I don't think it's very nuanced, but it probably does work in the majority of cases. But something interesting to note here as we all try to become safer drivers and get our button, your daily safety score is not impacted by the number of miles or hours you drive. We combine your daily safety scores up to 30 days into a mileage-weighted average to calculate the aggregated safety score, which is displayed on the main safety score screen of the Tesla app. So can you translate that?
That would be if you drive poorly in a day, but you only drove 5 miles, and then the next day you drove really well, but you drove for 50 miles, then your safety score would be pretty good because that bad day, you didn't drive very much.
This is like college all over again, right? Where you had a quiz that was worth 10 points and you did badly on it, but that's okay if you did really well on the test, which was worth 100 points.
Okay, so let me just check my score real quick.
Great. Yeah, because you've been driving on it for like 4 days now.
Right. I'm not seeing it here.
It's under safety score. You got to look for that on the app.
Is it in like a menu?
It should be right there. Why is it not showing
under
it?
upgrades?
No, it's its own little line item. Oh, wait a minute. That's an Android.
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't updated the Tesla app for Androids yet. It's only out for Apples.
Wait, so I can't see my score?
Not till they come up with the Android update.
What the f***?
Yeah, it appears Apple users have gotten the app first.
So I can't know the results of how I'm driving?
Yeah, I guess not.
The majority of people own non-Apple products. So you're saying that everyone only Apple people get to know their score?
I mean, this is Tesla. They're highly Apple-oriented company out
All
there.
right, well, I don't want anyone to call me a fucking fanboy again, because this is fucking bullshit.
Okay, but hang on. One of our Patreon Slack members showed us how to download the Tesla app for Android, and it worked. I got it right here on my phone, and we're going to show you how to do that today on Patreon's bonus stories. So don't freak out too much. We're gonna figure it out together. Okay.
Okay.
Many people are asking, I want to improve my safety score. What are some tips here? Here's one that Tesla gives us. You can improve your safety score by improving each safety factor. And for instance, this one here, maintain a safe follow distance. This is pretty basic. Don't tailgate anybody.
Right, but they said that the positive score for the other one, the follow distance, was supposed to be less than 3 seconds, which is really tight.
Yeah, that is tight.
And it's not proportional to your speed.
Right. Yeah, maybe to be safe here, you just don't really follow anyone closely for a while. Like, that way, at least you're not going to be tailgating them. How about the hard braking? They said basically engage the brake pedal early when slowing down, coming to a stop, or reacting to a change in your environment. Use regenerative braking whenever possible. Again, yeah, just try and slow down a little bit. Aggressive turns. Try not to do so many aggressive turns. You know what we should do, Jesse? Actually, I'm thinking about this. Mm-hmm. We should do our in-depth this week on this. We should go out there and actually test the stuff. We've got 2 different cars with it. Sure. You could drive one way, I could drive another.
Sure.
And we could see how this works. Okay. I mean, that seems to be the smartest way. But I did notice in the FAQs, we learned that driving on autopilot will not be included in the safety score calculations, but the miles driven while on AP are included in the total. And so I thought of another way to add to your hack book here.
Okay.
Let's say you went to get a cup of coffee. You got back and you saw that you had a really good score. You'd driven really nicely to the coffee shop. You could then just like hop on the highway, maybe during the middle of the day when there's not much traffic, and just load up on miles. And that way you would basically be having a nice high safety score with a lot of miles, because the AP will count for miles and really nothing's going to go wrong while you're in AP. The only bad thing that can happen during autopilot is if you get disengaged.
Okay.
Which is, I mean, if you're paying attention, shouldn't happen.
So then, wait, what if I have a bad score?
Well, if you went to the coffee shop and you had to slam on the brakes so you wouldn't hit, a dog, you could just stop and park the car for the day. And that way you would have had a really small number of miles. And even though the score is bad, it's kind of like getting a bad score on a quiz that doesn't count much.
This would be like a teacher who's like, I'll give you a quiz and you can retake it, but now it's worth more. I mean, if it was that first one, the frontal collision warning, you'd have to drive like 1,000 miles to get that down.
Right.
So better to park it.
And just wait till
Uber
the day
home.
And just start again fresh the next day. Right.
Okay.
Now, my biggest question here is there's 4 things that I would have included in this safety score that they didn't seem to be using here, which is speed, acceleration, autopilot warnings, and the cabin-facing camera. Because to me, those are 4 things that automatically make you a bad driver. If you're speeding, let's say you're going 110 miles on the highway, bad. Accelerating too much, that's dangerous. Autopilot warning, so that means you're just not paying attention and it's constantly beeping at you because it's about to take you out. And then the cabin-facing camera could be looking at you and saying like, hey, you're looking in the back seat all the time. That's not what a good driver does.
Right. But I mean, these safety things don't seem to make much sense.
Yeah. For instance, aggressive turning. I mean, if you live in Montana, you probably aren't aggressive turning a lot.
You're probably not turning at all.
But if you live in Boston, every street is at a 170-degree angle to the other street. And so you're always going to be turning. And then there's this other question that you brought up about what if an animal runs in front of your car?
Right. Now, I'm assuming if you get into an accident that they're just going to not give you the beta. But don't you want drivers who know how to handle their vehicles? Because like let's say that I get the full self-driving beta and then the car is driving along and it's been doing great for 100 miles, and then it does something weird. Would you want me to be like, oh man, whoa, I'm gonna try and like put the car like back on the road? Or would you want me to be like, holy don't you want me to do that? Don't you want, whoa, okay, we're back.
Yeah, but keep in mind that when you do aggressive turning, let's say, or aggressive braking, that's only a percentage of your trip. So, I mean, you can do an occasional, turn or brake, and it's not going to kill your score.
I guess so, but this just gives a huge advantage to people who live in very safe places where drivers are really good. Like, I mean, I actually pulled up a little chart here. Fort Collins, Colorado has the safest drivers in the world. Boise, Idaho, Lincoln, Nebraska, Chandler, Arizona. Why does that sound familiar? Oh, yeah, Waymo. Why do you think they chose there? Huntsville, Alabama, Knoxville, Tennessee, Springfield, Missouri, Reno, Nevada, Eugene, Oregon, Chattanooga, Tennessee. None of those are close to where we live.
Well, you could move there.
I would expect that most people getting the full self-driving beta are going to live in these cities unless this is all fake. This is all a bunch of BS.
What are you talking about?
I think that this is just a whole bunch of mumbo-jumbo numbers, and they're going to hand-pick the people that they want.
What?
So right now, they've already hand-picked the people who have been driving the full self-driving beta.
But that's like 2,000 people. Handpicking 2,000 people is different than picking. Elon said they're going to double that number for each release. So that would be 4,000, then 8,000, then 16,000. You can't just handpick them.
But you could decide where you cared about more. You might say, well, yeah, Fort Collins were a bunch of safe drivers, but they aren't a very useful category of driver because they live in a place that's very safe. Yes, and we want it to work in the most hazardous conditions. So we're going to probably draw a circle around Los Angeles. Maybe we'll draw one around New York.
I mean, I agree with you. They might pick some areas that they want drivers, but they're still probably going to use your safety score as part of the formula.
But this safety score system has some pretty interesting unintended consequences.
Yeah, because just like with any test, you can teach to the test or you can, study for the test. And so like Gary Black improved his score by running yellow lights, not braking for cyclists who crossed against the red, rolling through stop signs, and going around the block a few times before going home.
And Seth Weintraub in his article said, I spent the evening driving 55 miles an hour on the highway to try and get my score up, which of course pissed off just about everybody.
Yeah, so I mean, everybody is trying to cheat the system to get their numbers up.
But here's my question. Why did Seth drive the speed limit? Like, exactly. Wouldn't it have been easier to drive with the speed of traffic? I think it's because he, like I, don't trust the numbers. And I think that speed is being counted because that's what Amin, the software engineer from Tesla, said. He said that there would be a speed tolerance of 5 to 7 miles an hour, which most cops would give you 5 to 7 miles an hour. So if speed is being factored in because we have a tweet from a guy who works for Tesla, why wouldn't it be one of the safety factors?
But I'll make a counterpoint here. We have some exclusive video from our viewer, David, who says, I was driving extra safe today, trying to maintain my 100% safety rating by being extra aware not to tailgate, brake, or turn too hard. While trying to make a right turn at a notoriously busy intersection, I nearly hit someone in the middle of the road. I have no doubt that if not for trying to drive extra safe to earn my FSD beta download, I would definitely have hit this person. Interestingly enough, he was wearing a Tesla sweatshirt. People trying to be safe are actually turning out to be safer. That's not a bad thing.
Unfortunately, I think that's a cherry-picked case. As Seth was talking about, if you drive the speed limit on the highway, people are going to get very mad at you. And drive the speed limit anywhere. Go ahead and try it. I guess a lot of us are going to be doing that anyway. I don't like how I'm getting mixed messages from different people. Elon said that it was going to be 7 days. They're just looking at 7 days, but the safety score is measuring a 30-day mile.
Well, I think that means that you could get the button as soon as 7 days if your score worked out well, is the way I read it. Wade agrees with you, though. He said, hey, Elon, I got forward collision warning on a very hilly road, and there was no car in front of me. This shouldn't count against the driver rating in the app. It's an issue with AP, and we should be able to send a bug report when these things happen so it doesn't count against us. In addition to above, I got a ding against me for hard braking when it was AP that braked. What can we do? Should we not use AP at all for now? Elon said, noted. You should be able to press the mic button and say bug report.
Yeah, if autopilot breaks, you get a ding. I mean, maybe you should have been paying attention. I don't know.
Look, I think we're all getting a little too bent out of shape here. Everyone just take a big, deep breath. It's okay. If you don't get the beta version of this software, it's not the end of the world. I think you'd rather have the full release version anyway. It might take a bit longer, but that's going to be the version we're all going to want. So let's just drive safe, be patient, and hopefully your scores will be nice and high, and hopefully you'll get the button, and everything will be okay.
And if you want to see your score, you can join us over on the Patreon bonus stories over at patreon.com/nowyouknow.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for watching Now You Know Clips.
You can watch full episodes of Tesla Time News on Mondays and in-depths on Fridays. Just click the link down below to head over to the Now You Know channel.